What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown for UFC Vegas 41. We have Marvin Vettori going against Paulo Costa, and if I had to describe this card in one word, that word will be violence. If you guys know me, you guys know I love my violence bets. Last week, I had 0 violence bets. It was unlike me because last week, I had 2 bets, fight goes to decision bets. It felt weird. I didn't like it, but was able to cash both of those. Now I'm looking to cash some violence, and I have a ton of action on this card. I think this card has a ton of spots that do stick out, more so from a prop perspective, and as always, we're going to break these fights down from a betting perspective and strictly a betting perspective only. If you do want a further, more in-depth breakdown on why I like which fighter, on why I do like what, I did post a full card breakdown and prediction video earlier in the week, and then also going live 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Friday after the weigh-ins, and then going live once more 1 hour prior to when the prelims start. Prelims start on Saturday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Me and the guys will be going live 1 hour prior to that at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So I have a ton to talk about, a ton of bets to get through. I say we get into it. We're going to kind of roll through some of these that I don't have much interest in. The first one is going to be Jonathan Martinez going against Zavad Lajashvili. Very hard name to pronounce, but this guy, I think he's good. I mean, there are some concerns with Lajashvili, a couple of them being, I think he has like 10 fights where none of the opponents have a win on their record, 0-0, so that's a concern. He has not fought the best competition in the world, but, he's Georgian. A lot of people do like that, and I do like his game. He's going to come out here, he's going to go for takedowns and go for a lot of them. His grappling looks solid. But, there are a ton of concerns. He does slow down as the fight goes on. He's coming in on short notice. Jonathan Martinez, his takedown defense is not bad. His get-up game is not bad. I think Lajashvili is going to have success early. It's just, what is this fight going to look like? And if it does get into the second and the third round, that's where I have some serious concerns on the Lajashvili side. As far as making a pick, I'm going to pick Lajashvili, but I cannot get there from a betting perspective. We do see that he's at minus 120. I have a feeling that this line is going to flip. Like, even if he gets to a dog, this is kind of a fight I do want to stay away from, but some props that do stick out to me, it would be Lajashvili by decision plus 325. I don't hate that. And then Jonathan Martinez by KO. There's not a line out on that yet, but if Lajashvili does slow down, if he does gas out like I have seen him slow down in the past, maybe Martinez third round knockout could be live. So yeah, a fight that I don't have any action on. First fight of the night. I think it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to Lajashvili, a guy that was supposed to fight Jack Shore earlier in the year, but it's a fight I can't put my money down on. So pass for me, but the pick will be Lajashvili for the win. Livian Souza going against Randa Marcos. As you guys can probably guess, I don't have any action on this fight as well. I'd caution anybody that wants to put down any money on this fight. I think Souza is going to win. I'm going to say Souza by takedowns and top control, exploit that Marcos horrendous takedown defense. Souza by decision would be the only thing I look at, plus 175. I kind of have a feeling there might be like an armbar from guard type situation. I feel like something weird's going to happen in this fight, but just what makes me want to stay away from it more and more. So yeah, easy pass for me. Don't have much action in it. But, now we're going to get to some action. Jeff Molina going against Daniel Lacerda. I guess some books are calling him Daniel Da Silva. We'll have to see what the announcers are saying tomorrow. But regardless, we'll say Da Silva. Daniel Da Silva, this guy is an all-out finisher. I was only able to watch 3 fights of this guy, but his striking looks solid. Looks like he has a lot of power. Saw him get a head kick knockout. His wrestling looks good. He's a brown belt in BJJ. I really like what I see from this guy. The problem is, there's not much tape on him, so lots of question marks, lots of unknowns. I don't believe this guy's ever been over the 1.5 mark in his career. Again, 100% finish rate. He was not knocked out. He lost by an injury in his only loss. So either way, win or loss, this guy has never seen the scorecards. Jeff Molina is a finisher in his own right. A 78% finish rate. This guy puts on a crazy pace that not many people can keep up with. There are some serious holes in the game of Molina. I think he's undersized. I don't think he's the strongest fighter in the world. I think he's going to be at a size and strength disadvantage here in this fight in particular, and his takedown defense is really bad. He's been taken down a ton of times on the Contender Series. He was taken down a lot, and then even in his debut, he was taken down a lot. His get-up game's good, but even like outside of the UFC, he can be taken down at will. So that's a concern, especially Lacerda's probably going to come out here and get some takedowns and get some control time and maybe get a submission. But if Da Silva or Lacerda does not get that early finish, I do see Molina taking over as the fight goes on. But regardless, I do not see this fight going to decision. So I do have 2 bets on this fight. The first one is going to be Molina Lacerda or De Silva. Fight doesn't go to decision, plus 130, 1.5 units on it. That line is now down to minus 110. I think it should be even wider than that. I think we're getting it at such a great price tag because a lot of people don't know much about Daniel De Silva. And Molina has been to decision in his last 2 fights. I think that's why we're getting that price tag, and it's a flyweight fight. But, both guys are finishers. De Silva, Lacerda has never been, keep mixing them up. I mean, whatever. Daniel has never seen the scorecards. I don't think that changes here. And what I also did was I sprinkled the Molina round three prop, plus 1,600, a quarter unit on it, 0.25 units on that round 3 sprinkle. He landed like 140 significant strikes in his UFC debut in that 3rd round. This guy puts it on in the 3rd round, and he's going to get somebody that's never seen a 3rd round. So I don't mind that sprinkle at all. But regardless, I do see this getting finished one way or another. Moving up, Jai Herbert, Commerworthy. I don't think there's much to say here. You guys know I have a bet on this fight, and you guys know I have the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 240, 2.5 units on it. We do see that the line has not moved a ton. Yeah, minus 260, which I think that's still playable and still playable straight, to be honest. Like, both guys are finishers. Jai Herbert, a 90% finish rate. Commerworthy, 75%. Both guys are dangerous on the feet. Both guys are very, very hittable. Both guys have no striking defense, and both guys are extremely, extremely chinny. You see it right there. Both guys have a combined, 11 finished losses in their career. A combined 11 finished losses. Neither guy has ever lost by decision. Commerworthy, 7 knockout losses. Like, these guys are chinny, these guys are hittable, and these guys have power. All the makings for a violence bet. Give me a fight doesn't go to decision, minus 240, 2.5 units on that. That will be my biggest bet of the night. Moving up, Lariana Staropoli, Jamie Pickett. Yeah, big pass here. I think Staropoli wins, but Jamie Pickett's going to be the much bigger fighter. I don't like that, but Staropoli, I do believe, is the more talented fighter, but he's on a 3-fight skid. This is a loser goes home matchup. I say Staropoli gets it, probably by decision, which is plus 110. That's where I'd be looking. Fight goes the distance is another spot that did stick out, but I want nothing to do with this fight. Easy pass. Give me Staropoli as a pick, but don't really care for it much. Tabitha Ricci going against Maria Oliveira. And yeah, this fight does not make much sense to me at all. Like, I guess what they're trying to do is Ricci came in on short notice, made her debut against Manon Fiorot, up a weight class. Obviously, she got destroyed. I think the UFC is kind of paying her back and giving her a win here because I just don't see it out of Maria Oliveira. Oliveira, what is she good at? I mean, she's long, she's rangy. Her striking doesn't even impress me that much. Like, Ricci will probably be at a striking disadvantage due to that reach and length, but, I'm just not seeing it with the striking of Oliveira. Like, Oliveira's last fight was a finish, but it was against an 0-0 fighter. Like, it's so, this does not make sense to me. Like, her takedown defense looks very bad. Her get-up game is non-existent. Her ground game's non-existent. Ricci, although she's low level herself, she is a black belt in BJJ. I believe she's a black belt in judo. If she does get this fight down to the mat, which I think she can because Oliveira has shown no resistance at all to being taken down, I think Ricci gets a submission here. So what I'd be looking at would be Ricci by submission. The bookies are all over at plus 225, but I do have 2 bets on this fight. The first one is going to be, it's a straight bet on Tabitha Ricci, minus 200, 2 units on it. I did beat some line movement here. She is sitting at minus 260 now. I think she wins this fight. I think she wins it pretty convincingly. But on the flip side, if Oliveira does win, what's her path to victory? Her path to victory is potentially a knockout. Ricci has been knocked out before, mind you, by Manon Fiorot, but Oliveira, 64% finish rate. I think it'd be inside the distance. So what I did also was, because I think Tabitha Ricci does get a sub, because I think if Oliveira does win, it's some type of knee, some type of knockout, I also played the under 2.5 rounds, plus 165, and put a half unit on it. Yeah, I beat the line movement on that one by a ton. Not sure what it is now. I think the under 2.5 is still plus money, like plus 120, plus 115. I still don't hate that, but yeah, I think Ricci gets it done, and I think she gets it done pretty convincingly. Mason Jones going against David Onama. Another violence bet here. What I did play was the under 2.5 rounds. I got it at minus 195, and I have 2 units on it. I think Mason Jones is going to roll through David Onama. With that said, I'm impressed with Onama. I think he's really solid. He's actually coming up a weight class, but at weigh-ins, he looked a little bit bigger than Jones. So this guy's big. This guy has a ton of power, and David Onama has a 100% finish rate. David Onama's never been over the 2.5 round mark. David Onama's been to the 3rd round once. If David Onama does win, it's going to be a knockout. Mason Jones is very durable, but he is very hittable. I could potentially see a David Onama early finish, but if not, there's a big discrepancy on the mat. I think Mason Jones takes him down and submits him shortly shortly after. Mason Jones, black belt in judo, black belt in BJJ. I think the grappling is just levels apart. Mason Jones by submission plus 500. I actually really do like that. I think there's a good chance he does get a sub, but with that said, he also could get a ground and pound knockout. He also could knock him out on the feet. So, but yeah, the plus 500 Mason Jones by submission is something that sticks out to me. I've not bet it yet, but the under 2.5 rounds covers both sides, minus 195, and you're also not paying nearly minus 400, minus 500 for Mason Jones, because I do think he does get that finish. So give me Mason Jones for the win, but ultimately I do have the under 2.5 rounds, minus 195, 2 units on that. Jung Young Park going against Gregory Rodriguez. Yeah, I probably should have pulled the trigger on Rodriguez earlier in the week. I saw him at plus 105, plus 110, ended up passing, and the lines kind of got away from me. So I like Rodriguez here. I like the takedown upside. Park has, not great takedown defense. I think the striking is pretty even, actually. I do like what I see from both guys. I guess what I worry about is the chin of Rodriguez, but then again, Park has really not been shown to be much of a finisher, was not able to finish John Phillips, so don't know if he gets to finish here. I think Rodriguez wins. I want to say by decision or submission. A decision is plus 240, submission is plus 575. Park's been submitted twice, got submitted by Fluffy Hernandez in his debut. So yeah, submission or decision, either one, but this is a pass for me. I think Rodriguez does get it done though. Nikolai Negumereanu going against Ike Villanueva, another fight I think someone gets finished, and a prop really stuck out to me, and that is going to be the fight ends in KO, minus 115, half a unit. That line is now moved, not a ton, but to minus 125. So this is a fight that is minus 285. Yeah, minus 285, fight doesn't go to decision, and I'm getting the fight ends in a KO at minus 115. The reason I didn't go heavier on that, though, because I could actually see a Negumereanu submission. He does have some submissions on his record. Ike Villanueva has been submitted 5 times, so that's the only reason I did not go heavy on it. But I think more than likely, if Ike Villanueva wins, knockout. If Negumereanu wins, probably a knockout, but it could be that sub. But yeah, half a unit, minus 115, fight ends in KO. Probably should have went heavier on that, but the threat of the Negumereanu submission kind of swayed me away a little bit. But you're getting such a huge difference, nearly minus 300 for the fight doesn't go, and you're getting the fight ends in KO at minus 115. Just makes no sense to me. So half unit shot on that. Negumereanu by submission plus 375. Negumereanu by knockout plus 210. I think Negumereanu does get it done, but it does cover both sides there. Francisco Trinaldo going against Dwight Grant, another fight I don't have much interest in. I feel like this fight could be, extremely boring. Both guys have very low volume. Trinaldo now 43 years old. I guess I threw a hot take out there earlier that Dwight Grant's gonna be the first one to knock out Trinaldo, who is again 43 years old. His cardio is not good. He's been dropped in his last 2 fights. Dwight Grant by KO plus 400. I did not pull the trigger on it. Because I want to bet things that have happened before. I don't want to bet unknowns, and this is an unknown. I mean, the durability of Trinaldo is an unknown. Never been knocked out, so got to give him that, and he's had a ton of fights, so kind of a hot take. Am I going to put money on it? No, but I think Dwight Grant does knock him out. Plus 400, tempting, but I'd like a little bit better of a price tag considering it's never happened. Sungwoo Choi, Alex Caceres. The only thing I'll say here is I think the fight goes to decision would be something I'd consider. Sungwoo Choi, 60% finish rate, had his very first finish win in the UFC in his last fight against Julian Erosa, who's been finished a ton of times. But yeah, Alex Caceres, very good striking defense. Alex Caceres only been knocked out once in his career. I'm going to say Choi by decision plus 105 is where I'd look, or fight goes to decision, kind of cover both sides there. I think this fight's going to look closer than the line does indicate, though, especially if Choi does not knock him out. I don't think he's going to cover that minus 290, but I still think he does win. Jessica Rose Clark, Jocelyn Edwards. Give me Rose Clark here. I'm definitely not going to bet it, especially at minus 160 now. The reason being is if I knew for a fact that she'd go out here and she was going to take down Jocelyn Edwards, sure, I'd be happy to lay the minus 160, but it's not something she's done a ton in her career. I think she averages like 1 takedown per 50 minutes. She's going to need a lot more than that to win this fight. So I'm going to say Rose Clark does win. I'm going to say she does fight smart, but do I want to lay minus 160 to find out? Not really. Easy pass for me. Grant Dawson, Rick Glenn, the line's getting crazy here. Minus 500, getting pretty disrespectful, but I think Dawson does get it done. Rick Glenn, I believe, is a brown belt in BJJ, very capable grappler. I kind of think he survives here and loses a decision with getting taken down, getting controlled. So I guess I'd look at the Dawson by decision, plus 120, if anything. But going to be a pass here for me. Maybe Dawson as a parlay piece. If I do a Hail Mary, which I am, and he is in there, Dawson would be in my Hail Mary parlay. Minus 500, I think, is fine. And then finally, the fight everybody's waiting for. My goodness, lots of craziness with this fight. And so earlier in the week, I did a stream with Uncle Weezy, and it was like -105, fight doesn't go to decision. And I was very tempted in that. And I did think the fight would end inside the distance, but with all the craziness, all the badness, going up to 195 catchweight, now to 205 light heavyweight fight here, I think this fight does finish at an even higher clip. So what I did was I did Vettori Costa under 4.5 rounds. I have 1 unit on it, -130. I wish I got it earlier in the week, but I didn't know Costa would come in wanting to fight at 205. So yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Costa wins in rounds 1 or rounds 2, or I don't think he has the gas tank to go into round 3, 4, or 5. Even on like a full camp, even taking the serious is what I mean. If he's taking the serious, if he is at 185, weight cut went good, all that, I still don't have confidence in him going into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. But now that I have a feeling he's not taking it serious, I have a feeling that he doesn't really want to be there. Just the interviews have been crazy. I don't think he has the cardio to go into the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. So I have the under 4.5, and what I also did was, and I don't do this much, only when it's necessary, I did sprinkle the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds for Vettori, a quarter unit on each. Vettori 3rd round win plus 1,200. Vettori 4th round win plus 1,800, and then Vettori 5th round win plus 2,500. I just don't see him have the gas tank, Costa, to last 5 rounds. Like, I'd be surprised, be very surprised. So yeah, under 4.5 covers both sides, but I think if it does get into the 3rd round, it's going to heavily favor Vettori, and I think Vettori does get him out there eventually. So quick recap of the bets. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'll be posting my picks on there. If I do add anything, which I think I have a lot of action on this card, I think it'll be fine, but if I do add anything, they'll always be on there. My only straight bet of the night, Tabitha Ricci 2 units, -200. I also have the Ricci Oliveira under 2.5 rounds, plus 165, half a unit. Molina Lacerda fight doesn't go to decision, plus 130, 1.5 units. Molina wins in round 3, quarter unit, plus 1,600. Worthy Herbert fight doesn't go to decision, 2.5 units, -240. Nega Mariano Ike Villanueva fight ends in KO, -115, half a unit. Mason Jones David Onama under 2.5 rounds, -195, 2 units. Paulo Costa Marvin Vettori under 4.5 rounds, -130, 1 unit, and then a quarter unit on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round sprinkles for Vettori. 3rd round plus 1,200, 4th round plus 1,800, and then 5th round plus 2,500. If you guys can all please leave a like on the video, it really does help out. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Have 2 big cards coming up, so make sure you are subscribed so you not miss out on that. We have 267 and 268 back to back. Looking forward to those cards a lot. So yeah, guys, that's about it. Good luck on your action, and let's make some money for UFC Vegas 41. See